Here we go. All right, so the discriminant, and I hope you found this in your homework whenever you made it through. And we just briefly talked about one, but when you've got this quadratic formula, plus minus square root of b squared minus what?
C.
What?
4. A, B, and C.
AC over 2A, okay? There were some special situations that occurred when we got a special number here. Remember what that was?
The number is the same. That equals 0.
Exactly. If this ever equaled 0, we only had one answer. Well, that's this. What's circled in green here, this is what we call the discriminant. And what the discriminant does is it tells us what our solutions are going to look like before we actually work it out. Okay? So it's going to tell us the number and type of solutions we have just based only on what's under the radical. Okay? So we don't have to work out the whole thing. Of course, I'm going to make you work out the whole thing because we need some more quadratic formula practice. I'm crazy. All right. Now you have to run to the restroom and get some. I'm sorry. All right, so here's what happens. You've already told me one scenario. If I do b squared minus 4ac and I get 0, there is only one real answer, right? You've told me you get one answer because we end up like that one on warm-ups that we did, or the one on homework, where if you get something like 5 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 4, well, the square root of 0 is 0, so I just get 5 over 4 and I just get one answer, right? Does that make sense to you? So without working out the entire formula, I could just do this part, and if I get 0, I know I've only got one answer.
Why do you do notebook check?
To keep you honest.
Look, you see my notes right here.
I know, but would you be doing that if I didn't do a notebook check?
I probably would. I probably would look at them.
All right.
Shut up, Mom. I'm here.
You told yourself to shut up.
All right. Let's look at another scenario. What else could I possibly get under that radical? If it's not 0, Cameron, what you doing? If it's not 0, what else could I have?
1.
1. Let's think in terms of
2. 3.
Let me just tell you, because I can't think how I want to ask it. If I get a positive number,
You're right. 1.
any positive number in the whole world, how many answers do I get? 1. Think about it. If there's a positive number under that radical, you get 2 answers, right? That's where we split it up, 1 plus and 1 minus, like on your sheet last night. So here I would get 2 real answers. Now there's only one other possibility. Put that up. Let me pause this. One other scenario. If a number is not 0 and it's not positive, what else could it be? Negative. So if b squared minus 4ac is negative, now think about this. I'm talking about a negative under a radical. Uh-oh.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say here there's no real answers. And there actually, we'll get to this a little bit later, but we'll talk about what that means. Okay?
Wait a minute, don't erase it.
I'm not erasing anything.
Okay, let's grill out in your classroom on Friday.
We should have a grill.
Let's do an example.
Wait a minute. No.
Okay, let me pause. How about if I looked at this? X squared minus 8x, Deandra, plus 16 equals 0. Now remember, this is still a portion of the quadratic formula, so it still must equal 0 before I even begin, okay? If I have this, and I said, how many and what kind of solutions does this have? What could you do?
Work it out.
Work what out? Without having to work out the whole thing. How do you know? What'd you do? It equals 0 when you do b squared minus 4ac. What is a? What is b? Negative 8. My pen just stopped working. What is c?
Yeah, that means I gotta use mine.
All right, negative 8 and 16. All right, so if I do b squared, I get negative 8. But remember, I'm squaring a negative number, so it's going to become what?
64. Positive.
Positive. Why is this pen not working?
I'm telling you, Miss McGee.
Negative 4 times 4.
Minus 4 times a times c. So you said 64 minus, what's 4 times 1 times 16?
32 times 2 is 64.
Which means I get one real solution.